Today, we're going to be talking about a ring we know very little about, which is the Envy Ring, and how its prince, Leviathan, may be using social media to enslave large parts of hell. My name is Deepcut, hit that subscribe button. Our statistics show that very few of our viewers are actually subscribed, and you know you're going to want to see the next part in the series where I talk about the Sloth Ring, and the final part where I discuss Lucifer himself. According to the Peter Binsfield classification of demons, the Envy Ring is ruled by a demon named Leviathan, who most people know to be a biblical sea monster. Because of this, fans have long assumed that the Envy Ring would be home to sea serpent and snake-like demons. These demons are assumed to be some of the aquatic demons we see in the background of the show. Because this would be a deeper ocean than that in the Greed Ring, some fans have speculated that it is the home in particular of deep sea demons, and not the aquatic demons modeled after sharks, for instance, which would live closer to the surface up on the Greed Ring. Backing this theory up is the fact that Envy has a purple sky. Like the Lust Ring, it probably has a sky so dark that it seems like it's perpetually night, making it even darker in the actual ocean that fans believe make up the bulk of the Envy Ring. This would cause the water life, even close to the surface, to evolve similarly to deep sea life, which is deprived of light. They can clearly survive on land, however, and I imagine they can do this for at least a few days at a time, as long as they submerge in a tub of water every day or so. But they can at least leave the water long enough to do dealings with land-walking demons and go on trips to the Lust Ring for pleasure. As of now, it is unsure how many of the princes and other royalty, such as the Goetia, are fallen angels, as demons tend to be depicted in various schools of thought. We know Lucifer is for sure a fallen angel, and while others may be as well, Leviathan is interesting in that he wasn't depicted as anything angelic at all to start. In the Bible, Leviathan is an occasionally mentioned sea monster so powerful that God had to destroy its mate, because procreating would lead to them overwhelming mankind. Oftentimes, a figure that is a demon in Christian mythology is a not-so-evil deity from other religions, but Leviathan is interesting because they are something of a demonic monster in the Canaanite mythologies that ancient Judaism sprung up from. In the various mythologies, Leviathan characters were sea monsters that had to be killed before humans could exist, often representing an era of general chaos. Sometimes this serpent represented an era of beings that had to be killed by God before humans would be safe to exist. How Leviathan became known as the Prince of Envy in the Peter Binsfield classification of demons is a bit of a mystery. Peter Binsfield was a Christian theologian from the 1500s who led trials against supposed witches. Through his torturing them and subsequent interviews, he claims he was given the names of the hierarchy from the witches. His list is pretty identical to one that came before his called the Lantern of Light. However, Beelzebub is listed as the demon of envy in that one, and Belphegor as the demon of gluttony, and then a different demon, Abaddon, is ruling sloth. Regardless of how Leviathan became associated with the Prince of Envy in real life, their role in the show as a prince would be generally to enslave their native populations in a way that exploits them for the benefit of their trademark sin. But envy is a bit of a complex sin to indulge in. Someone can be proud to have pride, or even be proud to be wrathful. Indulging in gluttony is very much indulging in enjoyment, as is lust and even sloth to a degree. Envious, on the other hand, is not something anyone really aspires to be, and Leviathan's actual relationship to this sin is unknown. The most we can figure out about envy comes from its social media app, which appears to be modeled after TikTok. TikTok is perhaps the best social media to capture the idea of envy, as while all social media apps have been proven to make people feel more depressed seeing the constant stream of everyone else sharing only their positive experiences, TikTok in particular was purposely manipulated in the West to exacerbate this issue. The app, of course, has its home base in China, which has complicated its sketchy history, and it is now public knowledge that the algorithm used in America was purposely altered to suppress people of lower classes while pushing out more content that portrayed an upper middle class lifestyle. Like TikTok, I believe the Envy app takes Hell's existing social hierarchy and turns it into a 24-hour social gossip column that all of the various demons get caught up in. Demons like imps or hellhounds likely have trouble gaining a huge audience, save for a few that might happen to stumble in a more upper-class lifestyle. Instead of focusing on the princes such as Lucifer or Asmodeus, the Envy app would be used to parade around the most ideal lifestyles of the lower species of hell, with the actual majority of each species experiencing a much less extravagant life than those who find popularity in the apps. I can imagine endless online mobs of imps and hellhounds and other demons trying to gain an audience, all trying to emulate the more successful internet celebrity demons, with the top class being made up of mostly demons from envy, perhaps. Most princes seem to do their best to keep their native species in as low a position of power as possible, but the demons of envy may be the one exception, and perhaps really are the envy of the other demons in hell because of the extravagant lifestyle that Leviathan would let them live in order to be top performers on the app. In addition to the Envy app, it is possible that other social media may be connected to Leviathan, perhaps through the Overlord Velvet. Velvet is the Overlord sinner from the Pride Ring responsible for what has been referred to as Voxtagram, and perhaps with that, the Sinstagram app seen on Blitz's phone, both meant to be parodies of Instagram as run by Vox and Velvet. If Envy got its hands on the social media business and Velvet is an overlord responsible for pioneering it, the two may have more interaction with each other than you might think, with Leviathan perhaps going all the way to the Pride Ring to deal with her since she would be stuck in the Pride Ring. Other princes too may have to go to the Pride Ring to deal with overlords that have heavy influence on their rings because of their industry, such as perhaps Asmodeus meeting with Valentino. The most interesting thing to me about the Envy app icon was the way its face is shattered into two different expressions or personalities. Social media as a whole can be a mind-fracturing experience, one where you present only your positive side and try to hide your sad and miserable parts, or likewise showing only those miserable parts to garner attention while ignoring the happy aspects you should be grateful for. I wouldn't be surprised if the overlords, perhaps even Leviathan, purposely push algorithms that do damage to demons' psychological states, the same way TikTok has been caught doing with the algorithm in the US. Through this, Leviathan becomes someone who, like a lot of the elites, is someone you go to for a favor. Outside of social media, we know nothing of the inner workings of the Envy Ring, and social media is such a modern thing, with Velvet and the Pride Ring being considered important to its development. So what Envy did all this time leading up to social media is a bit of a mystery. Perhaps they started by being envious of all the other rings, having nothing to make them rich, and then suddenly the emergence of social media gave them the chance to be the envy of the rings, creating a money-making echo chamber of social media that drives people to an envious self-hate. All in all, Leviathan is the prince we know almost the least about, perhaps being tied with Belphegor, who at least we have some more firm references to in the show. But for more information on that, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we will be discussing Belphegor in our upcoming video about how he rules the Sloth Ring through the power of his prescription pills. Leave your thoughts below on everything you learned about Leviathan and the Envy Ring today, and perhaps anything I may not have included, or any new theories you guys have. It's the ring I'm most curious about, but perhaps the one we will see the least of in this series. But who knows? See you guys next time.